Welcome to Small Business 21st Century in this session of the West Wealth Zone University. I'm your host, Don Moragne, and we've got another great show for you today. Today, my guest is Michael Williams. He is CEO of Applied Management Corporation, and Mike's been our guest before. Mike, welcome, buddy. How are you?
Thanks for having me back. I'm doing well.
Okay, sounds good. When we talked with Mike on our first interview, he gave us a real good feel for what a government contracting company does. So Mike, refresh our audience's memory. Tell us a bit about Applied Management Corporation, if you don't mind.
Okay, yeah, we've been around since 1988. I came in 1994. We're primarily a services company in the government space. Most of our clients are with the Department of the Navy in San Diego, Dahlgren, Indian Head, and headquarters in DC. We perform a myriad of services, including logistics, professional services, engineering, all the professional support services that the government usually requires as part of the acquisitions.
And Mike, you're the Chief Executive Officer.
Yes.
You're the guy who runs everything, right?
Yes.
And so in that position, do you have control over the whole company, or do you have managers underneath you that you manage? How do you work that out?
Right now, as far as the operations go, it's just me. I prefer it that way, and I think most employees prefer it that way. But administratively, I have a pretty good team, especially that run the contracts and the financial piece. Right, I can't do that. I can't do everything, so I got a good team that does that.
Okay, so finance and contracts is contract administration, capture management?
More administration.
Administration. Okay.
And as you know, I outsource the CPA to you, great CPA, and I outsource my HR.
Okay. And so the business development, making sure that your current clients are happy and getting new clients in, that's something you retain as your responsibility as CEO.
That's correct.
Okay. And so why are you still involved with business development and also program management?
Well, I know the clients, so I have the contacts, and since I pay myself to do project work already, it's a cost savings. So I don't have to hire a business development person. Most of those people move around a lot. They don't know my company that well, but they do know business development. They do have contacts, but I have contacts. So I generally do it myself for now. Okay.
And so essentially the number of years you've been in business, you've made these relationships, and since you already have them, there's no need in letting those relationships go.
Correct.
Okay, fantastic. And then that's on the business development side. On the program management side, you are also in there to make sure that I, as your client, know who's in charge. I mean, why are you still in program management?
Absolutely.
Why does that make
well,
sense?
When you're small, and if you can spread yourself, it's best to do that to let the client know you are a priority, because you have the owner, the president, CEO of the company that's also managing the projects. But I also have senior employees in place that I use as lieutenants, pretty much.
They run on day-to-day?
They take care of everything day to day, so I trust them to do it, and they know their role. So if it gets above their level, they'll call me, pretty much. But I know the clients for every contract we have, and that's pretty much how we got the contracts, because I knew them. And I use those senior people to do the day by day, because they're the boots on the ground.
Okay. Now, you've got clients nationwide. Do you go see these clients periodically all over the nation? Yes,
because I work on each one of those contracts, except for maybe the one except the one at the Navy Yard. So, but I go to the Navy Yard anyway as part of other work. But every contract, pretty much, I'm on it as a program manager or even as an engineer. So I'm there and I'm working, and so I have to go to their sites and do work.
Okay, fantastic. Now, Applied Management Corporation is one of my favorite companies because they exemplify a few things that we've been talking about in our straight talks. And so, with your permission, I'm going to talk to Mike about some of the things that we talked about in Straight Talk so that you can see a real life example in Applied Management Corporation. Mike, one of the things we talked about in our Straight Talk was the large enterprise business structure, which we brought down to small business, small and medium-sized businesses as company wealth maximization. And that's essentially your company has stockholders, your company also has a board, and then obviously it has a C-suite and a management team, which is all the components that we talked about in company wealth maximization.
Okay.
But Mike, you're CEO on the operational side, but you're also president of the board on the governance side.
Yes.
Okay? And so do you see any benefit in having those two top positions on the governance and the operational side in terms of your decision making? Mainly
because I'm also the majority stock owner, so I have the company's interest at heart. So in my mind, I don't see any conflict because everything I do is for the benefit of the company. And maybe one other person, other employee values the company as much as I do. So that's why I do that. And so in terms of just keeping everything in sync, you know that whatever the board does, since you're in control of that, is the best interest of the company. Yes.
You also know whatever's happened operationally because your CEO is in the best interest of the company. So all of those different components, because you are the top of each one of those components, you make sure that they're in sync, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. And so that's one of the important things that I stressed when we were discussing small business, SMBs, and the company wealth maximization, that the CEO and the president be the same person on the board and the operational side and on the operational and the board side. And so that brings us to another discussion we had on leadership. You are president and CEO of your company.
Yes.
And if you remember, we admonished you for most companies using both of those terms. But in Mike's instance, it's extremely important because he actually has a board. And so as board president, you meet, what, quarterly or as needed?
Legally annually, and then as needed.
As needed, okay.
Yes.
And so you're making sure that on the board side that all the governance things are taken care of and that are in accordance with making sure that applied management continues to grow.
Yes.
Right. And so, and being president is really important on the small business administration side because that shows that you are in control of the entire organization. On the operational side, he's CEO, and that's important on a day-to-day basis because Mike is the one who actually makes the decisions and makes sure that things get done. And so the people underneath you, they're all accountable to you, including your contract people, your CFOs. And,
yes.
And do you find any conflict for you in being both of those, or it's just synergy?
To me, it's all melded into one, so
okay.
I don't even know the difference anymore.
Okay, all right, good, good, good. And so that's another straight talk that we talked about, making sure that at our level, the SMB level, that the CEO is also president of the board when you start to develop a board. But if you don't have a board, trust me, you're not president, okay? So remember that discussion that we had. Because you have such a grasp on the entire government contracting area, and you have been successful at it for so long. And we talked earlier in our early discussion about you carving out a niche with the defense contracting.
Yes.
Can you tell us just a bit more about that niche and you're working with the Navy?
Right, so it pretty much grew organically. We were doing basic services, accounting, logistics, acquisition support engineering, and we more or less had a client that was pretty loyal, and they were in anti-submarine warfare. That client had field activities that supported him, and we were able to infiltrate those through helping them.
Infiltrate, I like that.
Yes, yes. So everywhere we have a contract, pretty much is a place that supported that client in Navy headquarters. And then we were able to branch out into other activities, mainly by going to a meeting. Let's say I'll go to a meeting and I'll see someone that needs help. Let's say system safety. We do a lot of system safety. And I won't see that person with a contractor, and I'll walk up to them and say, hey, we do system safety. If you need somebody, I can help you out a little bit. You help them out a little bit, and then you say, you know, I don't have any money to keep doing this. I can't keep doing it, and then they get you money. So that's how we broke into another command, 2 other commands.
Okay.
Do that type of work and offering our assistance.
Wow.
So that I always tell my employees too, if you go to a meeting and you see somebody and they don't have support, let me know, and we'll make sure we're known that we can help them.
Okay. And that's important, staying visible, staying relevant, but letting folks know what you do so that they can determine whether or not they can participate, you can participate in what they're doing, and that also they can bring stuff to you, because you also told us that a lot of times people in the government actually call you and ask you, can you take on jobs because of your successful past performance?
Absolutely. And I have no problems telling them, no, we don't do that. I don't want to get a bad reputation. Like, no, we don't quite do that. Sorry. But a lot of times, if it's yes, we'll say yes. Mm-hmm. And since we last talked, there have been original equipment manufacturers that come to us. Again, one of our niches is we managed to carve out system safety. So there's a company that makes radar systems. They didn't know how to do safety. It was in their contract. They knew about us because they worked with us on another project. And they said, hey, Mike, we got to do safety. We don't know how to do it. Can you come in and do it for us? I'm like, yes, I can. And that spread to other manufacturers. So we're spreading amongst manufacturers now in a niche of safety, system safety.
That's fantastic. That's an important point. If you do good work and deliver a quality product, which we call past performance, then that word's going to spread, because everybody in government contracting wants to deliver the best product and have the best relationships to make that happen. We're going to be back in a couple of minutes. We're going to go into the second segment where we're going to talk about Applied Management Corporation and the CEO doing strategic planning for their next steps. And that's going to be extremely important. So see you in a couple of minutes, okay? Bye. Hi, everyone. The objective of the Wealth Zone University is to change your mind about money to change your financial future. Hi, I'm your host, Don Moragne. In the Wealth Zone University, my guests and I talk about a wide variety of business, financial, and other worldly topics. We are seeking to both educate and entertain you. We emphasize that the informations and discussions are my opinion, perspectives, and ideas, and those of our guests. We in no way intend to deliver or provide financial, tax, or business advice. You should consult with your tax, accounting, financial, insurance, and legal advisors regarding the impact, application, or pertinence of any topic or opinion that we share on the Wealth Zone University. Thank you for being a part of our audience, and please continue to communicate with us through email and Twitter, because this is your show. Welcome back to the Wealth Zone University. We're having a fantastic discussion with our guest, Michael Williams, who is CEO of Applied Management Corporation, whom you met in a prior segment. In the first segment, Mike and I were talking about how things that he and his company already have in place relate to some of the things that we've been sharing with you in our Straight Talks. In this segment, we're going to talk about future thinking, because Mike, even though they're already successful, has made plans to move his company to become even more successful. And so I want to jump into that. Mike, you've recently become 8A certified.
Yes, in end of March.
And you took a successful small business company that's already doing well, and you're moving into this particular program. What do you expect to happen that's going to be different or better for Applied Management Corporation at this point in time?
Well, I expect that program to give us easier and more open access to other agencies where I was struggling to get into. So at least now I can get a quicker audience. And of course, 8A, the competition is not so many smalls. It's, it shrinks down a little bit. And with our experience and past performance, I foresee us doing pretty well. So let's take a couple of numbers. I read that the government purchased, they don't give it out, $765 billion in government contracts
in 2023. And Mike made the distinction between small businesses and large businesses. For small businesses, the SMBs that we are, they gave out 178 billion, and that's the group that Applied Management Corporation has been in for more than 3 decades.
Yes.
Now they are in a special 8A program that allows them to do the things that we're going to be talking about, and in that program, they have access to another $76 billion that the government gave in terms of contracts in 2023. And so being in this program, it allows you to have access to different types of opportunities than Applied Management Corporation had before?
We have the same opportunities, it's just easier access and less competition.
Okay.
And you know, we've been around so long, we're able to navigate it a little easier. That's the main reason.
Okay. So the experience that you had before you went into this particular program is going to pay you dividends now that you're in the program.
Yes.
Because you have that experience and past performance.
Yes.
And you mentioned that it's going to expose you to other agencies that you weren't able to capitalize on before.
Absolutely.
What makes you feel that's a possibility?
Well, several agencies are, I think, from my research, are a little more 8A friendly. For example, FAA has this schedule called EFAST
Okay.
that we're already on. It's for small business, but most of the time when I look at their procurements, they're 8A set-asides, competitive set-asides.
Okay.
So I couldn't bid on any of those. So it definitely opens that up. It opens up a strategy where I can reach out to other 8As that are in that graduating phase. It's 9 years, as you know, you get 9 years, but when you reach year 5, you have to start showing yourself transitioning out. So I just want to talk to those guys, say, hey, you have to transition out, but maybe you can transition this way and still keep some of what you got instead of losing it all or whatever. So it's just a strategy I'm going to try as well. And reaching out to other larger businesses to let them know, hey, we're in AA now. You know, there's things we can go after. If you want to do some joint ventures, we can do it. But most of them would be sole source. You can sole source a joint venture. I think they just changed it, and that's about all you can do for JVs now under 8A.
Okay. And so just for sake of explanation, the 8A program is specifically for socially disadvantaged and economically disadvantaged businesses. That's a broad spectrum because almost any business can be economically disadvantaged. But Mike, you mentioned that there are set-asides because you're in the program.
Yes.
And what does that mean?
So the government, when they do make contracting decisions, they usually send out a request for information or sources sought. And in there, they ask you your socioeconomic status. And you'll say, I'm woman-owned, I'm veteran-owned, I'm 8A, I'm just a regular small, or I'm large. And depending on how many respondents they get, they tend to steer it in a particular direction. Okay. Now, they already know which way they want to go.
Yes.
So they use those RFIs, requests for information, to justify you need at least 2 in the category that you're interested in. And so 8As, they set aside contracts for those guys if you get at least a couple of respondents that can do the work and show that they can do the work. That's pretty much it for those, yeah.
Okay. And so in the 9-year program period, what benefits does the program bring that can help a business become a better business? One of the things that you and I talked about was the mentor protege program.
Yes.
That happens. They give all kinds of support. Is it large businesses or other larger small businesses giving support? How does that work?
So they have, yes, it's pretty much 2-pronged. So there's the government side, which you get a business opportunity specialist that works with you.
Okay.
We just got in, so I haven't had a chance to meet with ours yet. But they give you resources and guidance, and they help you to market your company and find where your services fit best throughout the different government agencies.
Okay.
Then the mentor protege program is there's a large business, and they get the benefit of getting contracts because they're helping you to grow as
Okay.
well and learn
Uh-huh.
to be a business that's on your own.
Okay.
So yes, and most of them, you know, they like you to have a relationship somehow with them. But again, we just got in, so I'm exploring how that works.
Okay. But you've got relationships with all of the contractors, successful relationships.
Yes.
And you're a prime on a couple, but subcontractor on many others. So those relationships can blossom in the mentor protege program, in addition to you being exposed to other agencies, right?
Absolutely. So yeah, as far as the mentor protege goes, that's the immediate plan is to reach out to the companies where we're already subcontractors, just regular old subcontractors, let them know we're 8As and we're interested in being mentored.
And so if I'm a prime and I bring you on as a small business, I get certain incentives. But if I bring you on as an 8A, smaller disadvantaged business, I get other incentives. So it makes sense for me to try to look to
Absolutely.
work with you.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then in the mentor protege program, because I am a larger company who is mentoring you, what do I get out of that? Potential new partners or?
New partners and new business.
New business, okay.
Yeah, new areas of work.
Okay.
So yeah, they're very supportive of those relationships.
Okay. And all those relationships enhance your business and help it to grow.
Yes, that's
And-
the purpose of the program, is to teach you to be on your own, which, you know,
But you're
already-
worried?
Yeah.
But you can do it even more,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And so you said year 5 in the program, the program requires you to start transitioning out.
Yes.
Does that mean that you are moving more and more into the commercial space, or you're staying inside the government? What does transitioning out at the year 5 typically give you?
Well, they don't care what you're doing.
Okay.
It's a percentage of 8As versus non-8A contracts.
Okay.
So they want to see that percentage of 8A contracts go from like 100% down to maybe 0.
Okay.
So they want to see you making it on your own and not relying on the program.
Okay, that's important.
Yes.
That's important because in our experience, once a company graduates from the 8A program, the vast majority of them don't make it.
Yes.
And so, you know, your experience 30 plus years before you go into 8A just gives you that much more leverage and possibility in the program.
Yes.
Now, getting into the program, your opinion about that, how was that for you?
It was difficult mainly due to the timing, I'll say, because that's when affirmative action pretty much was being challenged. So we were in the process. It took me 2 years, and it's not supposed to take that long. But the affirmative action challenge halted the application process, and then it made sense. They made you come back and write a narrative about how you were disadvantaged and how it impacted you economically. So that was easy for me to do. You know, I'm from DC, and bad neighborhood, etc. So I was able to do that, and we got approved pretty quickly after we did that. But
Okay.
yeah, the program was halted for several months, and then they came up with it. Hey, you have to write a narrative in order to get in, and then that's when they reinstated the program, the process.
So the narrative he's talking about is called the preponderant narrative, where the socially economic principal in the company has to identify why and what happened that allows them to feel that they are socially and economically disadvantaged. And that program, again, applies to everyone in the program, regardless of whether they are small business or women-owned business or veteran-owned business in the program. And we see that continuing, at least for while the challenge is still in court.
Correct.
And Mike, so the company that is running well is planning on running even better. And so is that part of your strategic plan, just to make sure that Applied Management Corporation just keeps going and going and going?
Yes, it's just to explore as many avenues as possible that where our work and the type of things that we do fit a particular agency, and to let that agency know we exist, go after work, and just do it as much as possible.
Fantastic. That just goes to show, if you're in government contracting or going into government contracting, the most important thing that you can do is think about where you're going to go, how you're going to get there, and make sure that what you're doing right now, you do it the best you can, have past performance. Michael, thank you for joining us again. I do appreciate it. As you continue to lead applied management forward, I hope you come back again and visit us.
Sure, I'd love to.
Just ask. And for you, real life example of all the things that we talked about in Straight Talk. So it's real, folks. Just follow what we're saying. Take care.